Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. Huge card at Canterbury Park on Saturday with the feature race being the Mystic Lake Derby. This race for 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. Several other stakes races on tap at Canterbury on Saturday. Get involved with a new DRF Bets account. Get $150 in risk-free bets. Find out how at drf.com/bet. Let's meet this field of 3-year-olds getting set to go 8 furlongs. Race number 7 at Canterbury Park on Saturday. We've got a field of 8, Matt, and Michael Maker's had a lot of success in this race in the past. He sends out the 2 morning line favorites. Let's start with the number 8, Dumph, and we were both big fans of Dumph as a 2-year-old. Expected him to take a move forward earlier this year. That really hasn't happened.
No, it hasn't, and that's been a disappointment for me because Dumph was a horse, like you say, we liked him as a 2-year-old, and it kind of felt like there were a few things for him, whether it ended up being wrong surface, maybe configuration, getting back to 1 turn would help. It just doesn't seem like he's really made any sort of progress from 2 to 3. That's a concern for me, and I understand you see Temple City on top. Maybe grass is where he'll end up making his hay, but I'm not convinced that he's better on grass than on dirt.
Maker's been fiddling with this horse of late. Last time out in that stake at Monmouth, Lasix off, blinkers on, and he just went too fast early. I'm willing to give him a pass for that race. The prior race, if you want to argue that race in the Transylvania was just simply too tough and Avies Flatter and Henley's Joy would be odds on in this race, that's a perfectly fine argument to make. But like you, I'm not sure I want to take him as the favorite where I don't see an edge. Plus, the Timeform US Pace Projector believes he might have to go fast early. It's a red bar situation with Dumph expected to make the lead. Maker also has the number 1 Far Away Kitten. Now, this horse was entered for $50,000 2 starts back, and he scored nicely at Churchill Downs. They doubled him up in price last time out, and all in all, I thought he had a good trip. The problem, Matt, is that he just had no pace to run at. He sat the pocket, he came out, and it was just impossible for him to make ground on the 2 leaders. I think he gets a better pace situation here, and I like him drawing the inside post.
No, I agree. Timeform US had those interior splits color-coded blue, meaning the pace was soft, and like you say, just really never had a chance to run down those 2 that were in front of him. He's the kind of horse that, to me, again, if you believe this pace projector, you think it's going to be fast. He can sit. He's shown that he can go and make up ground. He'll get the jump on anybody coming from too far out of it, and you might be looking at a square price. I know he's 7-2 on the morning line. I think Dumph will get bet. I think there's a couple other horses that'll take some money as well. Maybe you get 4-1, 9-2 on a type like this.
It'll be very interesting to see what we get from the 6 Winning Number as he tries turf for the first time. 2 starts on dirt, 2 starts on wet dirt, both very game performances sprinting. Now he's going to stretch out. Timeform US believes he's going to be close to the pace. He's by Speightstown, a perfectly acceptable turf stallion, 13% with first-time turf runners. I just wish there was a little bit more turf in this pedigree for Winning Number, and he's going to have to go a distance on a pressured pace.
But you see some of the names that popped up in that sort of pedigree. You see Dramedy, you see a name like Bluegrass Cat going all the way back. But like you say, more importantly, not a ton of grass in there. It is an instance where you wonder maybe this is a little bit of just taking a chance to see if it works. I also couldn't help but notice same trainer, same owner of the 3, the horse coming over from Europe, and the rider who rode Winning Number in the most recent run. He goes over to the European Invader. Makes me wonder, I think Winning Number goes, maybe he's good enough and he can just bury everybody, but there's a part of me that thinks he's going to need to work a heck of a lot harder going 2 turns on a new surface.
One of your favorite angles, Matt, the 7, the Trash Man's coming. This is a horse that looked like he was going to be a career maiden. He lost his first 14 starts. They shipped him to Prairie Meadow. The lights have come on. He's won his last 2, and he took down one of my favorites, Captain Von Trapp, most recently in the Prairie Mile. This horse might be finally living up to his pedigree, because remember, his Damn Awesome Humor was a Grade 1 stakes winner, I believe, as a 2-year-old. The Trashman's come in as run on turf in the past, and I don't think the races are as bad as they look. That last race at Gulfstream, in against Social Paranoia, who came back to run a really nice race in the American turf on Kentucky Derby weekend. I think Social Paranoia would be the favorite in this race, and the Trashman's coming kind of got shuffled out a little bit entering the far turn, came wide into the stretch. If there's pace, this horse can come running late, and he's on the improve.
Well, and the other thing is, keep in mind, his other turf race was his career debut. Draw a line through it. I'm not going to hold that against him. So like you say, he was in against a good group, or at least one good horse in that most recent turf try. He has definitely turned the ship around. He has righted course. He's on a winning streak now after a long, prolonged losing streak. The thing for me that I'm just I'm always a little bit curious. Whenever you get an instance like this where a horse wins a stakes race on dirt in the most recent start, I kind of feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Was there no other place to run him in a spot like this? You couldn't keep him on the main track unless you really thought all along he was going to be a grass horse. He's predominantly been campaigned on the dirt. I just find that a little bit peculiar.
You would think the Iowa Derby is coming up sometime in the near future, but they're wheeling this horse back in 15 days. Maybe he's kicking down the stall. The 5 is Senor Friday. He's already a Derby winner. He won the Turf Paradise Derby back in February on dirt, but he seems equally adept on turf. He's a nicely bred, gelded son of Curl, and last time out he ran on dirt against the Trash Man's Coming. I think that race was just a prep for this. His start 2 starts back, however, at Turf Paradise, 68 buyer. I guess if he improves on that, he can contend with these horses. He has a nice tactical gear, but boy, it took him forever to change leads, and it looked like he was lugging in on the stretch.
And then the concern is, I mean, look, yes, he's 5 for 9 lifetime, but through 9 lifetime starts, a career best number of 68. It just leaves a little bit to be desired. He's going to need to take a step forward, second off the bench, back to the grass. Maybe that's all going to equate to a faster number. But right now, I just think he's a little bit slow.
I wonder if Busy Channel's got some upside, Matt. I think a lot of folks are going to look at him and say he's just merely a sprinter. The one time they tried him long, he got beat at odds on. But that was at Kentucky Downs, where that mile is very testing, especially for such a lightly raced 2-year-old. He came back with a nice win off the layoff, and being by English Channel, isn't he supposed to be able to at least get the mile?
Certainly. And like you say, I didn't really think that Kentucky Downs race was all that bad, to be honest. He comes back, runs in that futurity at Belmont. Thought that race has come back relatively solid. You've got some horses that exited that, come back in the mid-80 range. And this has been a very productive move for Larry Ravelli over the past handful of years. Winning last out, second after the bench, or a second off the bench, I should say, maiden winner off the bench. It's just one of those instances where I wouldn't be surprised at all if Valdivia makes the ride up. I think this one is live in here. I picked him 3rd.
Before we get to our top picks, we'll talk about the longest shot on the morning line. That's the 2 Couch Trainer, who was claimed for $20,000 2 starts back, made the turf debut earlier this month at Canterbury, and I really just couldn't find any excuse. Pressed the pace and tired. If they try those tactics here, you gotta figure there's going to be company up front. This one might just be a little bit overmatched.
The 2 best races thus far both came on wet tracks. To me, it's by far the best races. Otherwise, I just have a hard time imagining this one getting it done.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this year's Mystic Lake Derby. Our coverage presented by Canterbury Park. You're going with the 3 Spectralite in here, Matt. And this horse is a multiple stakes winner in Italy, getting Lasix for the first time. You have to deal with a little bit of a layoff, but this one should get the right pace, and I don't believe is being too ambitiously placed for the North American debut.
No, I agree with you. You know, it's one thing when we see these horses come from Europe, and we've talked about it. Usually the Italian and the German form is a little bit subpar compared to the French and the Irish and the English and all those sort of things. But you look and see, you're right. He did some good things as a 2-year-old. Tried him in a group in his last start. I don't know if it was the soft ground or whatever it was, preceded a layoff. The Lasix come on. This is not a loaded group. He's going to get some pace to run at. To me, this is an instance where the rider who rode the 6, he switches over here for the same owner, same outfit here. I just want to give him a look because I just am not sold on anything we've seen from the other horses that have run here.
Completely understand going for the stranger angle in a race like this, and this horse is 6-1 on the morning line. I'm hoping Faraway Kitten gets a similar trip as last time. He was able to save ground. There just wasn't any pace for him to run at. There should be a little bit more pace for him to attack this time around, and again, he should be able to save some ground. Again, Michael Maker has had success in this race in the past. The Ramses and Kitten's Joy looking to team up for another stakes win. I'm going 1, 3, 7, and 8. Give me numbers.
I went 3, 6, 4, and 1.
Fun race, the Mystic Lake Derby, one of several stakes races at Canterbury Park on Saturday. Get involved with a new DRF Bets account. When you sign up, you can get $150 in risk-free bets. Learn how to do so at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Mystic Lake Derby, 8:25 Central. Good luck.